The Volunteers, Tennessee. Zakai Ziegler went down a couple weeks ago. I think everybody kind of wrote this team off. You look at the Bet Rivers numbers today, guys. Duke got 80% of the money coming in on the Blue Devils as a 5 seed against a 4 seed. And I tell you what, I have not seen a more physical team in one NCAA tournament game this season than what Tennessee did to Duke today. Laval, what did you see from the Vols?
Exactly that. Look, I was extremely impressed, Greg. I had them losing in the first round because they lost a point guard. I just think you watch Kansas tonight, DeJuan Harris gets injured. Like when your point guard, especially on short notice, and you don't have time to come up with how you're going to compensate for that. I was extremely impressed just with the way they were so as physical as that game was, Jeff. Yeah. Duke only shot 7 free throws and Tennessee only shot 13.
I know. They let them play.
You watch that film and it looks like both teams should shoot 30 free throws. I mean, but so I thought if the game's going to be called like that, advantage Tennessee, like no doubt about it, just because of the way they play. And impressed that, they had 15 assists with no Zakai Ziegler and only 9 turnovers. Obviously, Vescovi can play point guard, but he's better. He's been better off the ball for them. But look, defense travels, like we know that, and I thought it shocked Duke. It was just the physicality of it, shocked Duke a little bit. Tyrese Proctor was able to get in some space and pick and rolls late in the second half. I thought Duke bailed him out going zone, honestly, because. And I thought the same thing in the Princeton, Missouri game, because now your players don't have to necessarily make plays. Like you got Tennessee without their point guard. Now they just got to find gaps and find spaces and make clean passes instead of putting pressure on them to have to make plays and like you have to break you down and beat you. So I thought they bailed them out a little bit with that decision.
I wonder if part of that was because Mark Mitchell was out too, and he's one of their best defenders. Big time athlete. I wonder how much that factored into Shire's decision. But you are right. I mean, listen, I was surprised it took him as long as it did to get after Tennessee. It was almost like it was too late at that point. And as you said, they didn't really have a de facto point guard without Ziegler. So, to me, I don't think enough college teams do this, Val. I don't think enough college teams will go after a dude like that when they don't have a guy who can handle pressure. Vescovi's not that. Like Zakai Ziegler was their dude who could handle the pressure.
And he's a jitterbug. Like Zakai, like you don't want to get up in the head, he'll blow by you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play college basketball pick'em, where you can get a little extra sweat during March Madness and win real cash prizes simply by picking player stats in this weekend's games. In pick'em, all you do is predict whether a player will go higher or lower on Underdog's projected totals, whether that's points, rebounds, whatever. For example, if you're like me and you think Zach Edey is going to go nuts in this tournament, take higher on his points projection, add up to 4 more picks, and if you hit them all, you can win 20 times your money on a single game. Underdog's slick mobile app is easy enough that dummies like Jeff Goodman have even figured it out. So go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app and use the code FIELD, FIELD, and Underdog will match your deposit up to $100. Now is the time to get in on the madness. So remember, UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code FIELD.
On the other end, I thought like you remember the game Where's Waldo?
Yeah.
The book where you're looking for the guy with so that's the weak defender on the court. So you got to play a little Where's Waldo as the court. Like you got to find Waldo, the weak link. And so I thought Vescovi, when they found him, like Roach he stepped him back for a 3 and kind of lost him. He beat him on a closeout. Grandison scored on him on a 1-4 switch and the pick. Like they should have, I wish they would have just kept. You just got to keep picking on him. Like don't get tired of finding Waldo.
That's another thing college coaches don't. And that's where like the former NBA guys know that, like Musselman even. You see that. And what does he do? He goes at the same dude over and over and over. And I feel like I don't understand why college guys don't do that. Keep going to the well, right? Keep going to the well.
There's nothing wrong with finding Waldo, Jeff. Like
fun story. I once went as Waldo for Halloween in college. There are pictures to prove that. More on that maybe in the afters portion of the show. But I thought they really wore down Duke's guards, and Jeremy Roach was, flirting with fouling out in the second half, so that may have affected it for a little. It looked like, the call, I thought they were going to foul him out with 5 with about 10 minutes left to play.
But it was weird. Why Shire had him in there, Greg?
Yeah.
Like in the first half, at the end with a minute left, he picked up his third.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? Like, I get it. Shire, young guy, played the game, probably thinking a little bit like, all right, he's got Roach as a veteran. I'm going to trust my guy. But with a minute left in the first half, when you're like down 5, to me, you got to get him the hell out of the game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I also think Tyrese Proctor really just wore down as the game went on in a way that maybe Roach didn't. I don't know if that went into the decision from Shire, but you got to give the Vols credit, man. Just quickly before we go to break here, I want to ask you guys both this. Is this Tennessee's region to lose at this point? Purdue has gone down. Tennessee is going to be a big favorite in their Sweet 16 game, no matter who they get. Beyond that, I mean, who are they going to get? Marquette, Kansas State, Kentucky, Michigan State. Jeff, I know you picked the Spartans. Would you still stand by that, or would you move over to Tennessee if you could flip your bracket?
No, I'm taking whoever comes out of that bottom part, whether it's Kentucky, Kansas State, Michigan State, or Marquette. I still don't buy Tennessee. Again, they can obviously defend. They're physical. As Val said, though, here's the thing: those guys let them play, and it changes. It changes from game to game and crew to crew in the NCAA tournament. Most officials will not let them play like that because most crews, they're being graded out. So a lot of crews aren't going to let Tennessee get away with, I think, what they got away with today.
Okay.
I had Marquette coming out of that side, Greg. I'm sticking with it. I just, they put you in space. So if they were to match up with the Tennessee, for instance, like they eliminate some of the physicality with their movement and their spacing, and you're trying to play catch up.